Hi guys, Lucky Alex here. Camera issues today. But anyways, today we've got Supply Vessel
Hey.
and True versus Gaming.
Hey.
So, first off, I want to congratulate on True versus Gaming for having, 50 subs?
60.
60. Dang.
Actually, Blake, let's see if you get the joke. I have a stack of subscribers.
You have a what of... You're funny. You should.
I started doing Minecraft content recently, so I decided to use that joke for one of my subscribers of the week.
Well, here's the thing. So if you have 64 subscribers, well, now I can use this. If you flip those two numbers around, that's how many subs I have.
Oh yeah, when you put it that way.
Yeah, I have 46 subs, but I'm proud of it. I'll say, when I get 50 subs, I'll do a setup video, just like how Aaron did it.
But guys,
I already saw the office, so it looks really cool.
Guys, I get ready for this. I have 20 something subs. I'm better than all of you.
Well, congratulations. I feel like a loser now.
Good.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Supply Vessel actually did take quite a bit of time off of YouTube for a while.
I'm still trying to get my computer.
Well, true. He did a video 3 days ago of himself eating cereal.
Yeah. So there's a story behind this. So I was going through my comments recently, and for some reason this one guy said, "Oh my gosh, I've been waiting ever since I watched you to just do a video of you eating cereal." I'm like, okay. And then like at the end of the video, I'm just like, support Apple Jacks.
Okay, so if you couldn't already tell by the title of this video, we're going to talk about comic book superheroes. We're going to start off with Marvel, and we're going to talk about how you can become certain superheroes. So, first group, this is a subgroup, is the easiest heroes of the Marvel Universe that you can become. It's actually quite simple. Now, I think we should start with Star-Lord.
Iron Man.
Not alphabetical order.
Like, when you really think about it, with Iron Man, you're gonna have to have a lot of money to become Iron Man, though.
Well, Iron Man, step 1, make an industry selling military weapons. Step 2, get shrapnel in your heart. Step 3, be imprisoned in Afghanistan and build a suit to get out of there. Step 4, say my turn and blow up a bunch of them. And then step 5, fly home and make new suits.
Well, I mean, I just thought of something, like, if the cops tried to arrest Iron Man and tell him to put his hands up, let me ask you something.
Okay.
Would you really want him to put his hands up?
Okay, for Star-Lord, you don't necessarily have to be like Star-Lord and have a father who's not from Earth. It could just be, you have a mother who likes mixtapes, or just step 1, get abducted by aliens.
Okay, I'm a little annoyed with all these people talking about mixtapes nowadays.
Well, Star-Lord has 2 mixtapes.
So wait, just to be clear, Star-Lord, the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yes.
Alright, I know who you're talking about.
I'm surprised on how the movie helmet he has is very, very close with the comic book version. I'm surprised. Because when you look at stuff like Captain America and Iron Man, and they're not that close to the comic book version. Because the earlier versions of the Iron Man in the comics were never used in the movie.
Yeah. Well, they did in the Iron Man 1. They sort of used some of the classic ones.
Well, the first Iron Man suit that he built to get out of there without getting cured by the guys, was actually on par with the comic book. And then his second suit, the way how it had no color, was also on par by the fact that he didn't color it until his third suit.
Well, one of his suits, like when the Avengers were first being made, it was like the Mark I suit, but it was just straight up gold.
I mean, I haven't seen Iron Man 3. I think I may have seen Iron Man 2. It's been a while though.
In Iron Man 3, he gets rid of his little light heart thing.
But isn't that what keeps him alive?
He managed to be able to get it out to where he can survive.
Well, isn't that the whole way he's able to power his suits?
He just adds one in now.
So you add a fusion core in it, and so now his Iron Man suits are a lot like the power armor in Fallout 4.
No, they're more like that one, the suit that the Mark 1, the built up.
The big one?
The big one from the Mark 1 suit that was more upgraded up.
Oh, the color one. The colorless.
No.
The colorless one.
Yeah, the gray one, but how that one dude that was Tony's like business partner.
Actually,
I
I haven't seen Iron Man 2, but I know in Iron Man 2, Rhodey gets the old suit that didn't have the color on it, but he upgraded it and called it the War Machine.
Yeah.
And I know in Iron Man 3, he makes a patriotic suit that looks like Captain America should be wearing.
Yeah, but that suit gets ditched real fast.
Yeah, I heard. Who's wearing it? A mayor or something?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I only know this because of how it should have ended. Which, still full of spoilers for any movie, even though, especially the new Star Wars one.
Yeah.
I have accepted most of how it should have ended videos as headcanon for the several movies, especially the Dark Knight, how it should have ended.
Wow. That's...
Joker told him to hit him. I don't understand why in the movie he didn't. I mean, technically it wouldn't kill him. Just put him in the hospital. Boom. Whammo.
There is a risk of killing him if you're going super fast speeds. But we're not supposed to be talking about this stuff. We're supposed to be talking about Marvel.
Yeah, we're still on Marvel. So I think we've gone through all the ones that are easily obtainable, and now let's go on that are a bit more difficult and are a bit more by chance, which I guess you could kind of say Star-Lord would fall into, I guess.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, under the right circumstances, that can happen, but you have to be visiting a place that experiments on spiders and
Area 51.
Make them radioactive. And then again, there's like 13 other spiders in the comic book that could have bit him, that who knows what could have happened. Also, the spider in the Spider-Man comics that bit Peter Parker didn't just bit him. It also bit a girl that was with the group. And
her name's what's her name now?
It's called Silk.
Yeah, Silk. Yeah, I think those two are very interesting.
Well, and because they both have Spider-Man powers, they are attracted to each other, and that's as far as I'm going to say about that. And guess it would get more awkward, but anyway, so Spider-Man, that's a bit by chance, and then you have to make a suit for yourself. Although, since we have Spider-Man costumes in the real world, you can just get one that was from very close to the movie ones without the holes in the eyes. And then boom, you're set. Let's see, what should I do next? Captain America.
You have to, by chance, be a weakling from birth. Then it's just somehow randomly have somebody make a super serum.
You're best friends with a scientist that's trying to make a serum to make people stronger. Soldiers in specific. And then when he makes the serum, since you're best friends, you'll be like, oh yeah, you can test it out. Even though the risk of you're probably gonna lose your best friend. No, sure, yeah, you can participate in the experiment. And then, okay, what's next? Hulk. This is very by chance because his origin story, he gets doused in radiation from gamma rays. And if you do the same increment, now we are not sure what the exact increment is. It differs depending on it differs on what your source is. In the TV show, The Incredible Hulk, the dosage of gamma ray was about 1 million, and that kills. And so, yeah. But they found out, it was taped to be 1 million, but they found out that the person who marked the numbers on that machine marked it incorrect. So basically what it is, on the machine, it's off by 100. So say if you set it to 100, you're actually using 200 units, and so on. So instead of using 1 million, you'd actually been using 1,100,000. So even more than a bit of a lethal dose. And then if you somehow survive that and you get mad, you turn into a big green monster that you can't control. Unless, well, after a couple of years, you'll be able to control yourself, and you can be like, "That's my secret, Captain. I'm always angry."
Sort of, I guess.
Next one, Hawkeye.
Hawkeye is not super. He doesn't have superpowers.
That could be moved on to the easy list. Because Hawkeye, you just have to be really good at shooting arrows, and you have to be somehow able to buy arrows that blow up in people's hands when they try to catch it.
Or make them.
Haha, I caught it. Well, then when you're the Hulk, you can throw around Hulky and be all like, "Puny God." And then, let's see. Who's next? Well, if you're War Machine, all you have to do is, take that suit that's not being used and upgrade it. And you have a Gatling gun on it. And a missile launcher, which is, I'm pretty sure, I thought that was already in the suit. But apparently the way he upgraded it made it better. But I've seen it in movie trailers, and is the Falcon in the MCU yet?
Yes, he is. He joined after. He joined in Winter Soldier.
Well, from what I know of him, is he technically a superhuman?
No, he has mechanical wings in the MCU, but in the comics, I don't even think he's superhuman anyway. He has a suit that makes him fly.
He could have technically been moved on to the easy list, but I only just thought about him.
I'm pretty sure he's on the easy list.
Then Wolverine, which
that's not. You have to be born a mutant.
Well, you can have them surgically implanted. He's a
mutant.
Here's the thing.
He was born.
You have to do more than have it surgically implanted in between your two arm bones, because you have to have it to where now first off, even if you get it to where you can get them out when you're like angry or stressed or what have you, here's the issue. You have to have super healing, because the claws come out and then they just go back in, but then there's still holes.
You also eventually have to have super strength, because once he gets the adamantium skeleton, he's got to have super strength to be able to move around.
Yeah. Well, it would be a finite and thin amount, because our bones aren't as thick as some people think. I mean, it still might be pretty heavy, and he did make the motorcycle go down a bit. He's like, I just put on a few pounds recently. So Wolverine is actually, even if you get the implants for the claws, I mean, you can't implant super healing.
Yeah.
So there's if you're really stressed and then you just like put your fist by your face and you just get stressed and then ching,
It doesn't come out when he controls it though.
Well, here's the thing. If you're not born with it, you can't control it very well.
That's why.
Well, here's the thing. Even if scientists say, "Oh, we can implant these bone claws," they can't get a brain function to make them come out. So basically, they just be stuck in your bones, and then when people find your bones, they'll be like, "Oh, hey, this guy has claws."
He has extra bones, because it wouldn't be really be claws.
Yeah, it's considering they never would come out. Let's see. A more hard one, Professor Xavier.
Professor X, he's also a mutant. You kind of have to be born with
He's
telepathy.
And telepathy at the same time. Well,
telepathy.
Telepathy.
Pretty much that's really all he's known for, but is telepathy. But
we don't know.
He has other things. I know he has other things. I just can't think of it at the moment.
And yeah. Well, it would kind of stuck to be Professor Xavier because you get shot by your best friend and then you're paralyzed from the waist down for the rest of your life. It's depressing. It's like if I shot Supply Vessel and then he was paralyzed from the waist down, I wouldn't see why he would like me anymore.
Well, he doesn't really like Magneto anymore, so that makes sense.
Yeah. But so yeah, and then let's see. Another one that would kind of be on par with something we'll discuss later when we get into DC is Scott, the guy with the laser eyes that have to wear sunglasses all the time.
You mean Cyclops?
Cyclops, my bad.
Well, that's also a mutant thing. That's not and it's not really possible in real life unless you get laser pointers in your retinas.
Yeah, that's an implant that really wouldn't work very well.
Pew, 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 pew. I mean, the only thing you do is eye damage to yourself.
Yeah, and you wouldn't see when you turn on the laser. Well, technically he doesn't see when his lasers are coming out because he's like, in the prison scene in X-Men Origins Wolverine, and I'm not saying this is completely canon, but for some reasons we'll get to in a second, he has this thing over his eye so he can't see, so he can't walk anywhere, and he has it on because the second he takes it off, the lasers come out, and so he takes out this floor of guards, and he closes it, and he's like, did I get them? Because he doesn't see them when he does it. And then, so, yeah, that would kind of be, that would be a rough one. Even if they find a way to implant you with that power, you'll dissolve your eyes and die.
Mm-hmm.
A miserable, painful death. So, let's see, the next one, Beast. Now, I'm not too 100% sure about his origin.
He pretty much injects himself with something to stop his weird feet stuff, and it ends up enhancing his mutant ability to... Well, at least that's how it is in the whole X-Men First Class movie.
Is it MCU? The Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It's not part of the MCU.
First Class isn't?
No, none of the X-Men movies are.
I thought it was. Because they're Marvel.
They're not owned by... They don't own this cinema rights to it. So Fox owns the movie rights. Same with Deadpool. So that's why they're in the same universe.
Alright, and that is a segue to our next hero, Deadpool. Now this...
He's not a hero. He's an anti-hero.
He's an anti-hero, but we're still including him because he's close enough to not be considered a villain to go over, because we're all talking about heroes for the moment. We'll get on to villains before we get on to the DC universe. Deadpool, this would be our midway point before we start talking about villains. Deadpool, first off, you have to have cancer. And that's not fun getting or having.
Technically, you don't have to have cancer. You can just...
Well, you get the healing factor from Wolverine, which he doesn't exist. So, there's just no becoming Deadpool if Wolverine doesn't exist.
So yeah, there needs to be a Wolverine to be able to have a Deadpool. But also, because you technically don't need cancer, but if you to become it, but
well,
you just...
you want to be fully Deadpool, to have the looks and everything, you have to have cancer, because that's why he looks like a walking, talking tumor. It's because he has cancer,
yes.
And that happened to him after the main process.
Mm-hmm.
And then, his regenerative speed isn't really fast, depending on which version. Like in the MCU, from what I've seen, it's kind of fast, but it's not instantaneous. Like in the MCU, Wolverine seems to heal a lot quicker than what they're showing Deadpool, but that may change in future movies.
the X-Men.
And
lore
we
is
were
that-
talking about earlier about X-Men Origins Wolverine and why I'm not counting most of it canon is because they really messed up Deadpool.
Oh no, it's just straight up not canon.
Deadpool was in it. For those who have seen it and you're all like, what? Deadpool was in it? Where? How did I miss that? Ryan Reynolds in the movie. He was Wade Wilson, Merc with the mouth. Also, he talked the entire time. And also, fun fact about X-Men Origins Wolverine. The entire lines of Wade Wilson was completely improv'd by Ryan Reynolds because Ryan Reynolds loves Deadpool. Which he probably should have... there's got to have been something in the script about how Deadpool was going to come out, because surely you would read into that before you sign up for the role. Because that was kind of a bad decision on his part, to be in Origins Wolverine. See, the title is weird because it says X-Men Origins. You want to think it's a series, but they never do any other origin movies from X-Men because it did bad at the box office because of the Deadpool issue.
Yeah, but also because
the people who recognized it was Deadpool were like, why'd you do that? And the only reason you can recognize that it's Deadpool is, one, he was Wade Wilson a second ago with 2 katana blades, and the 2 katana blades that come out of his hands to be the Deadpool power. Or, no, the Wolverine power. Because they make it
the healing
weird.
factor.
I mean, he does have a healing factor. And they never said in the X-Men Origins Wolverine that he had cancer. So, that's why he doesn't look like a walking, talking tumor.
Well, he does after the procedure.
Well, he doesn't look like that in Origins Wolverine. The Wolverine movie.
Just a little bit, though.
And also, they really have to shut his mouth. I mean, the mouth is what makes him Deadpool.
I think that was the point. They were ruining the Merc with the mouth. They wanted him to,
Well, here's the
not have the
thing.
mouth.
Fox didn't want to touch into Deadpool because they know Deadpool cusses and he does a lot of things that they can't pull off in a PG-13 movie.
You can still say other words that aren't the F-bomb.
Well, that's why when they made it, everyone on the cast and crew, because I think whoever was in charge of making the Deadpool movie, like the movie company, they said PG-13. Everyone on the cast and crew fought to have it to be R, because they know that if you want to do Deadpool accurate, it has to be R. Because of things in the comic book. So they must all really be Deadpool comic book nerds. Because it wouldn't be as fun to have Deadpool as PG-13, and then you have, like, a lot more people going to see it. But still, I mean, if they wanted to make more money and have more people see it, they could have had it PG-13, but let's be honest. I know a couple friends that aren't 18 or 17 that have snuck into the movie. And, or you just go with an older brother or sister that happens to be 17 or 18. And so, yeah, that's a little trick. And also, so now on to villains. I think we should just cover a few so we can get on to the DC universe. What are the main villains that would be considerable? Loki.
Loki's
Well,
a god.
Yeah, that's why we didn't cover Thor, because you can't do that. Even with implants, you'd never be able to pick up Mjolnir. If I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry.
You said it right.
Okay. And then, Loki kind of has his own version of Mjolnir. Kind of. He has a staff that can make people follow him. Ooh, so scary.
But it can't be picked up by others.
Yeah, that's true. So, it's not as awesome as the Mjolnir, because Mjolnir can only be picked up by people who are worthy. And
Quite a few people have.
people misinterpret this. They think, if you're worthy to hold Mjolnir, some people think only Thor can wield it. That's not true. There's no other people who are wielding Mjolnir. There's even been a comic book issue of Deadpool when he picks up Mjolnir, but he finds out it was a fake one. But it just a fake Mjolnir that didn't have the same glue on it from Odin, but it still gave Deadpool the powers of Thor, which made it a weird comic.
Hey,
Well-
did y'all see this movie yet?
I'm pretty sure everybody knows, at least especially if you actually pay attention to stuff,
And
that
I'm-
it's not just Thor because of also the fact that it's just, well, first of all, Vision picks it up in Age of Ultron. Also,
Wait, who are we
doesn't
talking about?
Vision's not a human though.
Hey, wait,
matter.
who are we talking about?
It just says whoever's not worthy.
Whoever is worthy can pick it up.
Yeah, whoever's not worthy can't pick it up.
So how does the
Whoever is worthy.
Vision be worthy?
Because he was made. First of all, he was made by Thor.
Age of Ultron, Steve almost picked up the hammer.
He only
Steve?
pushed it. Steve.
Yeah.
Rogers.
Yeah.
Oh, Rob.
Or in your case, Chris Evans.
Captain America, not Chris Evans. Chris Evans didn't pick
He
it up.
almost picked up the hammer.
Wait, so this is what's always boggling my mind. I know this is the reason why they did a reboot on Fantastic Four, but so in the original Fantastic Four movie, which I still hold to be very much canon, and I don't hold the new movie canon, but the old series, the two movies, the guy who drew the flaming torch was Chris Evans, and you know.
Oh yeah, it was.
What they're telling me is when he went into audition for Captain America, one, you gotta be thinking, why is Chris Evans doing this? He already has a guaranteed role if they do Fantastic Four ever again. But he decides to go, oh, I want to be Captain America and be Steve Rogers. And so he goes and auditions, and for some reason, they said, oh yeah, you'd be perfect for Captain America. Well, I know Captain America is blonde in the comic book series, but surely someone else who was auditioning for Captain America was also blonde.
He's already the Human Torch. He doesn't need to be another hero.
Well, I guess they
Guys,
decided that they weren't going to do a Fantastic Four movie with the same cast again, because I guess the other actors in it weren't interested in it anymore. And so
You guys
they
realize that both of the Fantastic Four movies aren't canon to the MCU, right?
to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, yes, because Marvel is very big.
No, neither of them are part of the MCU because of the fact that they don't own the movie rights to the MCU.
But you know the craziest
Same way.
thing about Marvel? Every comic book series that begun in Marvel was all conceptualized by one man, Stan Lee, which is why he's literally in every Marvel movie. He was even in, I don't think he was in the new Fantastic Four though.
He was.
I knew he was in the old too. Because he's literally in every one of them. It's an Easter egg that you have to keep your eye out for. Because I know in the Avengers movie, he didn't have a big role in the Avengers. He was a guy on the street looking like, oh my gosh, there's aliens coming out of the sky. Even
That
though
wasn't a big role.
he was just a guy on the street, and if you didn't notice him, because it would have been very easy to miss that. The one movie that I've seen that I say there's no way you could possibly miss him is in The Amazing Spider-Man in the library scene. That's hard to miss. He's literally right in front of the camera, playing music, and at the entire time, he never realizes that Spider-Man and Lizard are fighting.
Because he can't hear it.
He's got noise-canceled headphones, the best in the line. And technically, you could have the same thing with your iPhone earbuds, because when you're playing music, you don't hear anything. Am I right? You don't hear anything that's going on. This is why noise-canceled headphones can be dangerous. Especially if you're like walking for some reason, you go on the street and someone's honking at you, but you can't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean,
This is why if you have noise-canceled headphones and you're not going to bother looking both ways, don't cross the street. A lot of people get run over nowadays because they cross the street looking down at their smartphone device. And, well, yeah, that causes a lot of accidents. Not to mention the people who text and drive. And so, alright, so we need to move on. So, villains,
Bane.
Loki. We're in Marvel right now. I'm only gonna cover one more so we can get into the DC heroes. Let's see.
Batman for life.
Villain from Marvel.
I'll go for Shocker.
You can't really be Ultron. Yeah, it's not possible for a human to be Ultron. So, on to the DC universe. Let's start with Superman, the Impossible. Superman's impossible because one, you have to be born on another planet, and two, you have to have all these super abilities that are only possible when you go to a planet with a white light sun, or a yellow sun, whatever you want to call it. And then, so, Batman would be on the easier side because you just have to be rich, have an enterprise, with multiple in multiple industries, and you have to just train for 15 years to fight.
You also have to be, good at martial arts.
Well, he didn't just train in martial arts. He did a lot of stuff, a lot of fighting techniques for 15 years, and then he made a bat suit, and of course, in the comic books, his first suit was, it was pretty basic to put together. If you were rich, it really wasn't using much materials. And then you have your butler helping you, so you basically don't have to do anything. So, another hero that's in the DC universe, let me think. Green Lantern, if you're chosen to, have the lantern and the ring, you just do the code thingy, the oath, and then boom, you're a Green Lantern. And your suit is green and animated. Yep, they never made a Green Lantern suit. Not a single one for a Green Lantern movie. Which is why Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool both hate it. Which is funny because they're kind of the same guy. But, and it's also referenced in the Deadpool movie. He goes, "Don't make my super suit green or animated." Because Green Lantern, they didn't make a single suit for that. It was all animated.
They made a CGI suit.
That's why I said they didn't make a suit for it, which means, it was probably really embarrassing filming that because you're like, oh, I know I have a suit now, but I don't see it. It'd be hard to be a method actor when the suit you're wearing in the movie is all CGI because you can't wear it. So
well, that's why Ryan Reynolds stole the Deadpool suit when they were done filming.
I mean, I don't really think they really were gonna care. I mean, as long as she takes it to the next movie when they film it.
Or they're most likely gonna make another one.
They might make a new design because in the Deadpool comics, his suit changes. It's about every few hundred comics issues, and then it does change a little bit. It doesn't change much, but his weapons he has, and something that should have been in the movie, and I haven't really seen much of it. I've only seen 16 minutes of it. And I saw all the trailers, but I'm sure that they don't have the one comic trait where he just, when the screen is up and you don't see anything, he pulls down out of nowhere like an invisible goodie bag, like anything. Like you can pull out a machine gun, you can pull out, anything. And also have other holsters for other weapons and be able to carry more than just the 2 pistols. And also, I think Deadpool does have a dagger that he uses. Yeah, and he also, I think there's also other forms of swords that he uses instead of 2 katanas.
That's really it, actually. He only uses his katanas.
And then, like, the really thing that really varies the most is the mask. But with making it in the movie, it'd kind of be weird to keep changing that for every movie. But I kind of like it the way it is now. They really brought it to life, and Supply Vessel can even speak for it because he has a Deadpool mask.
I do. It's awesome.
But you can't do emotions in it.
What?
You can't do the emotions, like the facial expression. That's why they had the CGI mask and the actual mask when he's not doing like the face movement.
Actually, most of the expressions were actually not CGI.
Well, it depends on what part of the head is moving, because with that, the way they made the mask, your eyebrows going up and down for an expression wouldn't be seen unless you did the CGI thing. So that was one big issue about it, and then so we need to really get off the topic about Deadpool because we're talking DC. So another hero. I'm trying to think, but Robin. Well, he's not really a superhero; he's just a sidekick. But I think he still counts. You don't need any superpowers, and you just need to know how to fight. I'm not sure how many years of training Robin had, but it probably is not near as intense as the Batman training. And also, he probably didn't train for 15 years and probably wasn't too intense about it because all the things we see him in, he doesn't have near the muscle mass as Batman. And so, the next one, I really can't think of any. I would have to start talking about villains. The Joker, nothing special. Depends on which Joker you want to base yourself. The Heath Ledger Joker, which was, quite surprising Joker, and possibly the best Joker to ever come. It's just a shame that Heath Ledger died before he got to see his performance and or even being in The Dark Knight Rises, which is sad. So Heath Ledger's Joker, great performance, especially the very popular line, "Why so serious?" or "You want to see a magic trick?"
People give him too much glory.
Do you want to know how I got these scars?
I think people give him too much glory, though.
I just like the Heath Ledger Joker. I don't think I'll see Suicide Squad because I don't like the look of the new Joker. The tattoos are a bit much.
You also have to think you can't judge a book by its cover.
That is true, but I know that if you want to stay true to the comic, the Joker in the new one is definitely against the comics in all ways.
So was Heath Ledger's Joker.
Heath Ledger was closer than the new one.
Well, actually, technically that's wrong too, because if you look at Joker, the only thing that's actually that if you take out is the tattoos, then it's exactly like normal Joker. Well, plus, it's technically there's super high theories and super most likely going to be true theories.
The first Joker they ever had on a Batman movie was also very non-accurate to the comics because he wore this green suit with question marks on it, which seems more of the advert for Doctor Who.
Or the Riddler.
That too.
Because I don't think
he had pink hair. And when they filmed that movie, pink hair wasn't even a thing. I think that was made in like the 70s or 80s, and pink hair wasn't a thing.
Just saying, that was not the Joker. That was the Riddler.
No, that was the Joker. That was the first Joker they did, and I'm pretty sure it's the Joker. It's a weird... There's no reason why that makes any sense, except the pink hair. I don't know.
You guys send me a picture, because I'm pretty sure that's false.
Well, from what I've heard, it's the Joker. I haven't seen the movie. I've seen pictures of him. I've heard about it. And then the first, what do they call him? Half-Face?
Two-Face.
Two-Face. The first version, I haven't really seen a picture of it, but I've seen
he has pink hair.
On how it should have ended, where the half of his face, doesn't look like it was burned off. It just looks like I don't know how to explain it. But in the one in the Dark Knight, you know, it really looks like he got his face burned off like halfway, and there's no way he should be able to talk. He's only got half his lips. And also, it's very disturbing to watch him while you're sleeping or dead. Because he's got one eye that never closes, one eye that closes, and it's very weird.
I wonder how long it would take him to go to sleep.
I think I'd have to have something covering my other eye. Not to mention, it would probably burn all the time because you can't blink.
You also need a lot of artificial tears.
Why? Because your eye dry out?
Yeah, his eye's gonna dry out if it's wide open. Like it's gonna be wide. It's wide open 24/7.
That Two-Face would cry.
Well, he'd need to cry. I mean, there was that one time when he lost all his coins, or his coin, because Batman put a bunch of coins in his coin.
Yeah, that's well. From what I've seen from the movie, he has trick coins. He's a cheater. He's like, oh, I call tails, bling, and there's tails on both sides.
It's heads on both sides. One head is scratched, and so what happens is usually this is how it works: is if it lands on the scratchy heads, the person dies. If it lands on the normal heads, then usually he goes, okay, let's go again, until he lands on scratchy heads, which then he just goes and kills them.
Yeah. Don't bet your life with Harley Dent or the Two-Face, because eventually it will land on the scratchy head.
I think I know more about comics than you do.
I am not that in DC Comics. I'm better with the Marvel Comics.
You still lack knowledge of Marvel Comics, though.
Because I went in and out of DC in the cinematic universe, and I never really. I know the only comic books I know about in the DC is I know about the New 52 series for Batman, the last two for last month and this month, where Batman, after he's in some fight with the Joker, and the Joker has this evil scheme to get rid of Batman in this cave, which is ironic. There's like an explosion. Batman hits his head on this weird type of metal that heals his brain, but he gets amnesia. Same thing happens with the Joker, and so the Joker forgets who he is, and Bruce Wayne never remembers being Batman. So he miraculously loses the 15 years of training, and Alfred tries to catch him up to speed on what happened to him. Or before he got to explain about Batman, he was about to go to the clock to open it up to show the Batcave. And he was scared about showing him the Batcave because he's like, well, do we need Batman anymore? The Joker's still out there. No one knew that he had amnesia yet. And there's still other villains as well. Like Mr. Bloom, which was a new villain, which I'm about to get to. But Bruce stops him. He doesn't want to know what's up with the clock. And he just wants to live his life. He doesn't want to know about any secrets from his past life. So basically, he doesn't have any interest at the time of being Batman. Oh, and I probably should have said this earlier, because I don't know how many people who are watching this who have read this, so this is kind of late. But for further stuff that are a bit more controversial, this is where the spoiler alert is in place. It's probably a bit late, but now that we said that, we can go further.
Superman dies in Batman v Superman.
He doesn't. I know he doesn't die. Batman stops because he... What? Spoiler alert. Batman stops because he finds out that Superman's Clark Kent's mother, adopted mother, just has the same name as Batman's mother, and is also is hostage.
Yeah, because their mommies have the same name. Also, Superman does die though.
Well, I didn't know that much.
Well, you said spoilers already, so I was clear to say it.
Okay, so Batman won.
No. Neither
Hey,
of them won.
what?
Neither of them won.
Well, there is a fight, and since Superman dies, technically Batman won.
But they died after. No, that's not how it works.
Does
Because he died saving the
Batman
world.
really think that that Superman's adopted mother is his biological mother? Because how do you explain that to Batman?
He's an alien. They already know he's an alien.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, because if he thinks that she is his biological mother, then someone has to break it to him that she's not an alien. And also, Kryptonite destroyed, it's gone, and Superman's parent just died with it. But apparently, to the new Man of Steel movie reboot, apparently Superman's father somehow survived or something. To
He
where
didn't
Superman.
survive.
Wasn't there this thing where Superman could talk to him?
That was a kind of hologram.
Ah, well, still, it counts as talking to his father. But, see, I only know this stuff from How It Should Have Ended. It's, probably not a good source considering. But, so, back to the comic. So, the Commissioner Gordon, I don't remember his first name, he shaves off his mustache and he gets a mohawk. I don't understand why he does this. And he becomes Batman with a new Batman suit and a Batman mech suit, not to be confused with the suit that Batman used to fight Superman, but that might be inspiration. But the suit is a robotic suit. It's a robotic suit that covers Gordon completely, but he still wears this Batman suit. And
Hold it. I'm about to school you again. Okay, there was no inspiration from the stupid bunny suit. The Jim Gordon bunny's looking suit. There was no inspiration there. The inspiration of
what I mean the fact that it's a robot suit, that it may have been inspired by Batman vs. Superman.
No. Batman vs. Superman was inspired by The Dark Knight Rises, which is about Batman who's been retired for years now.
Comic version. The comic one, not the movie. Because it's weird. I'm going to say that right now, because there's a comic Dark Knight Rises, but the movie of it, well, as far as I can find out, is not on par at some point.
No, not Dark Knight Rises. It's Dark Knight Returns. Dark Knight Returns came out way before. It came out in the 90s, I think. But it was way before the stupid bunny suit came out.
Oh, no, this is the New 52, the past two comics that came out. It's not a bunny suit, it's a Batman suit.
It looks like a bunny, dude.
It's a robot suit that you can basically get in, how do I put this? It's basically, since it's a robot
I've seen it before, I know what it looks like.
But, and he calls it Rookie, which, I guess it's kind of insulting because it's supposed to be a robot version of Batman. But, anyways, he fights this new villain called Mr. Bloom that has these seeds that are put in people's, ankles, and it gives them superpowers until it kills them and then spreads, the thing to give powers, and, it's all very complicated. And, so Bruce gets in a relationship with this school teacher. I forget her name. And he starts building this school near a place where the Joker's attack happened. And there's this big dinosaur that has for some reason, I don't understand the dinosaur, but it has Joker face paint on the face of the dinosaur, which is weird. And then Bruce, he goes down to a lake, and he just sits on the bench, and he's thinking about what's going on. And Man comes to sit next to him, and he says, "It's a nice spot, isn't it?" And Bruce says, "Yeah." And the guy says, "Well, so why are you here?" And Bruce says, "Well, I've suffered from amnesia, and I just can't relate to whoever I was because I don't understand it." And the guy says, "Well, I am the same way too. I've suffered from amnesia." woke up in a cave. The guy looks like Joker without any face paint or hair dye. And he pulls out a gun and he says, I didn't mean to scare you. I just can't take anymore. I was thinking about coming here since it's so peaceful and quiet and killing myself, and because I can't understand anything. And Bruce is like, well, you can have your spot. I'm gonna leave now. In basic terms, because things get awkward when a man pulls out a gun, even if it's supposed to kill himself. So basically, since the Joker suffers from amnesia, and there's no one there to tell him what happened, because I'm guessing in this comic book series there's no such thing as Harley Quinn, because she loves the Joker, and she would tell him what happened. I'm sure.
That doesn't make no sense, though. Because Joker isn't face paint and hair dye. That's not what the Joker's skin... His entire skin is white because he... And his green his hair because... Or his hair is green because he fell into a deal of chemicals.
Well, see, what it was, this Joker was like normal skin color, normal hair color. I don't know how that's explained. Well, it's the New 52, which is a new writer, new designer. The New 52 is not just a series for Batman, but it's a series for Superman. And it's how Man of Steel got the inspiration to remove the trunks from Superman. Because in the New 52 series of Superman, they took away the trunks, and it's a new design of the suit. And the same thing happened with Batman, except they've already changed his suit enough before the New 52 came out.
Oh man, I am glad that New 52 is no longer canon.
It's not?
Nope. Right after the only thing is canon. That's canon now is Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and the movies ahead. And comics that go off of the movies.
Well, I can't say if the New 52, if any of it, will line up with the movies or not, if they try to do that to make it have an excuse. But
no, they can't, because New 52 started before, and they've already said that
New 52 Superman design for Superman is what inspired the design of Superman and Man of Steel, so shouldn't it technically be canon?
No.
At least the Superman one.
Because right now Superman's dead, and he's in New 52. He's pretty sure he's not dead. If they're even continuing New 52, because that's been out since 2011.
The New 52 for Batman is gonna have a new issue next month, and it will continue what I'm talking about. And so Bruce, he's Mr. Bloom. He gets all crazy and all that. So Commissioner Gordon, who's now another Batman, and he's part of Project Batman. They're trying to make more Batmans because of the absence of Batman. And he goes to, he tracks down Mr. Bloom, and he gets out of the robot suit, and he says, Rookie, go get him. And the robot suit doesn't move, and he's like, Rookie. And then Mr. Bloom says, do it, Rookie. And then the robot suit grabs onto Gordon's throat and is like choking him. And then, well, which it's that gotta be it's gotta suck for Gordon there, on suit turning against him. And so that happens, and Gordon's not really too happy about that because your own suit just turned against you. And since it's the Batman project, they're trying to make more Batmans. There's an entire army of Batman suits. And after Mr. Bloom told the suit to let go, Mr. Bloom spreads the seeds into random people. And they started turning into Mr. Bloom, which is also bad, but it was a slow process, and they didn't turn in Mr. Bloom right away, but I mean, it didn't take, it would have been like about a couple minutes before they turned into Mr. Bloom completely, and it's weird. I'm not sure what the exact time frame of when you get the seed and when you turn into Mr. Bloom, because they haven't made a movie of it, and I don't think they will, unless someone really likes the idea. I mean, you never...
Really, Mr. Bloom, Uh, well, I'm looking at him right now. He doesn't look that cool.
He's not scary. I mean, it looks like you put a flower on the face of Slender Man. To be honest, okay, Slender Man is scary. Well, if he was real, he'd be more scary. Slender Man is only scary when you're playing Slender game.
He's scarier when it turns out he's real and he's right in front of your face.
He's not real though. Fortunately.
But if he was, I bet you would be super scared.
Wouldn't you be too?
Oh yeah.
Don't you agree that Mr. Bloom looks like they just put a flower in front of Slender Man's face?
A bit.
Except for the fact that his fingers are knives, kind of. Not like Scissor Man, but... or whatever the guy is. You know, it's like, oh, he kills people with his fingers because they're sharp. But, so... the entire robot suit of Batman, they all start attacking people because it's being controlled by Mr. Bloom. And so, and Gordon's fighting some people that are turned to Mr. Bloom, and goes flashback to the mansion. Bruce has had enough. He knows there's something that Alfred wasn't telling him, and he knows something's going on in the city. He walked straight into the mansion, just slammed open the door, and he goes to Alfred and he says, "You show me what's behind that clock right now. There's stuff going down the city. You need to show me right now." So he opens it to the Batcave, and he tells him that he was Batman. And he said that he showed him the machine that he invented, which the machine he invented was to put everything that Batman had ever learned into a human brain. But the only two test subjects that they tried as part of the Batman project, they both died, which is why they stopped. Well, Bruce Wayne just told Alfred, do it. And, he does it once. It hurts Bruce really badly, and he just says, do it again. And he still doesn't get it. And he realizes that you need a dead brain to put this into. The stuff about Batman, for whatever reason, has to be a dead brain. Which makes no sense at all. But he's trying to tell Alfred to do it, and Alfred says, "I cannot kill you, sir." And then the school teacher that Bruce fell in love with came in and she said, "I will." And she's full well knowing that she's giving up her love life with Bruce for some reason, because apparently when he becomes Batman, he can't be with her for one odd reason. Also, it doesn't make any sense. She pushes the button, and the alerts go flying on the screen. Brain death warning. So technically Bruce does die, but he comes back with all the memories of the 15 years of training to be Batman. And the second he gets up, he looks straight at Alfred and he says, "Tell me what happened to me in the car." And he just shows up next to Gordon, because Gordon gets stabbed by one of the Mr. Bloom clones. And Batman takes out the clone, handcuffs Gordon to the helicopter, and he says, "I'm the Batman. Stay here." And so he just told Gordon to stay put. And so Batman goes to fight off some of the clones before he takes on Mr. Bloom, and then he has to fight some of the robots, and he destroys all of them, of course, because he's Batman. And then he destroys Mr. Bloom, but before he can kill him, while Gordon is in the helicopter, he decides, "I'm not going to listen to Batman's orders." Cuts the handcuffs. I don't know how he does that. And he jumps onto Mr. Bloom and starts attacking him, and when Batman comes up to him, and he's like, "I thought I told you to stay on the helicopter." And Gordon said, "This is my enemy. I will fight him. You can fight along, but he's my enemy." And so they take down Mr. Bloom. Gordon goes to the hospital. He goes back and he gets awards for saving the day, even though Batman deserves all credit because he's Batman. And so he walks out onto the balcony, and of course Batman's in the shadows, and he steps out and he says, "Mr. Bloom is your enemy. The Joker is mine." And even though the Joker's probably dead because he committed suicide, at least that's what was the natural assumption of what was going on. Batman has his enemies, and he can't have Gordon fighting all of them because Gordon is Gordon. And he doesn't have the 15 years of training against Batman, so why would should he be, in the first place, fill in the shoes of Batman? I mean, you can't do that unless you have 15 years of training, like we've already discussed. Or you use that invention of his, kill yourself, and then fill your dead brain with
Continue.
stuff. Huh?
Continue.
And yeah, and so that's pretty much how those two comics books end. It's kind of like a whole series wrapped up in itself, and that's the only comic books I've ever looked into on the DC universe. And not the most exciting thing I've read because, well, it's hard to follow. I don't know why why he had to suffer amnesia and why he wants to kill himself because he doesn't understand, and no one's there to tell him what he did because no one recognizes him. I wonder if he killed himself or he couldn't do it. And that's what we'd have to find out in next month's comic if I even decide to read that. I don't know. I think
Find these.
the Comic Historian.
Okay, that makes sense.
Kind of the best way to do it. It's like how I fill my head with a lot of knowledge on the Marvel side because I don't look into the DC one that much. All I know is I watched a video on what, they talked about what Batman v Superman was heavily based on, because this guy was talking about the trailer and he was breaking it down. He was saying, well, this is off a comic of Batman where, he fights Superman, of course, but the comic wasn't called Batman v Superman or Batman versus Superman. And, I think I might see Batman v Superman. I'm not sure. One thing I will say is from what I've seen, for some reason, Lex Luthor has hair, and I'm pretty sure Lex Luthor is bald.
It'll explain it in the movie.
I guess he's wearing a wig. Because I've heard that's what he did in Superman.
That is what he did in the original, but
the old Superman movies.
yeah, but in this one, that's his actual hair.
So this is before he loses hair?
Yeah.
So there's 2 new movie series for DC. There's going to be a movie series for Batman, a movie series for Superman.
Well, Superman's not going to return until Justice League.
Oh, because he died, didn't he?
Yeah. And so,
well, the spoiler alert's still active until we decide to turn that off. You can kind of say how he dies.
not good. We're not turning it off, but pretty much he dies. He grabs a kryptonite spear and runs super speed to Doomsday, and apparently now Doomsday is weak to kryptonite because he's partly made of Kryptonian now, and so Superman plunges it into Doomsday, and then because
Well, isn't Doomsday made out of rocks?
no.
He kind of looks like that. Because I heard this story about in a Superman comic that someone, I think it may have been Lex Luthor, was fighting with Batman, make him fly into a rock face that ended up turning into a life force because of Superman. And it basically becomes more and more like Superman. And then eventually Superman dies, and the rock face comes so much like Superman. He is Superman, and he feels in his shoes because Superman, with his last dying breath, gave the memories of him into the rock so he would do good. Which also could be how, unless Doomsday that's how they can keep Superman alive.
Well, Doomsday in the comics is not supposed to be able to die.
So, well, did he die in the movie?
Yes, which that made a lot of people mad. But yeah, he dies in the movie, and Superman also dies, but because the only reason why he died was because Wonder Woman cut off Doomsday's hand, and he grew a little bone claw thing, and that's what he stuck it, and he jabbed Superman, and then he had to go, and Superman had to push himself more into the bone claw, and push his body into it more, to where eventually it was gonna kill him no matter what, but he had to push himself into the bone claw to be able to push the spear into Doomsday more to kill him.
That sucks.
Yeah, and so then they both died.
Wasn't there any other way though? Without
Nope.
sacrificing himself? Like, couldn't
That
you
was
just
really the
put
only
the
way.
blade out and then like shove it down with a super strength?
No, that was the only way, because he was weakened. He was getting weak by the kryptonite, so he couldn't.
Oh, that's true.
He had to act fast.
Yeah, it's probably nighttime when he was fighting Doomsday.
Yes, it was.
So even if he got away from kryptonite, he would be recharged.
No, not really.
And even in the movie DC Cinematic Universe, Batman doesn't get charged up by the sun as quickly as he does in the comics. Unless, in the New 52 comics, when he does the solar explosion, where he diverts all his energy into an explosion as a last-minute resource to kill his enemies. And then he's just human for, like, 48 hours. And, yeah, that's something. Well, I guess that's all we really have to talk about, because we covered all the superheroes that we feel like we should for now, and this has probably been going on for at least an hour. So we're going back to my old live stream times, because I used to do hour-long live streams a lot back then because I couldn't keep track of time. And so yeah, I'm starting to do that again, and I think I would. I don't have any planned videos. I might do one tomorrow where I play a game on Congregate that I just found for a playthrough. It might only take one video because one of the tags on it says 5 minute. So I heard it has a good storyline though. I read the description of it. I haven't played it, so I know there's nothing. I wouldn't get flagged on YouTube for it. So. Looks good. And then, so, Dead Cyborg episode, the full episode 2 came out, and so, eventually, I'm gonna get a better laptop and get Dead Cyborg episode 2, and then Dead Cyborg will be back on my channel. But that'll probably be a while. And so, yeah, so, Supply Vessel just left, so I probably should wrap this up. So basically, yeah, we might do a video tomorrow. We might have another video where we do, a Kahoot It about maybe, like superhero or Metal Gear Solid, because if they have stuff on Star Wars, they surely have something on Metal Gear Solid or superheroes, comic book superheroes. And so that is it for today, you guys. I have no further updates for this today, and so yeah, that is it. And as always, thanks for watching.